James Cameron made a movie about a sinking ship that did real well, and then he made a movie about blue aliens that did real well. What else did I figure out? Just combine the two and boom, you get another good movie. Avatar: Way of Water is the sequel to Cameron's original Avatar movie in 2009, and this is apparently the second out of 5 planned movies in the series. So similar to the MCU, there's a bit of setting up of future storylines in the movie which remains unresolved by the end, but I thought it was fine. I think the setting up didn't distract from the rest of the movie. It was just, we're back, humans are back, we're here to colonize planet because Earth is dying, this is our city. Okay, that's enough for now. You can go on to your adventure, go hunt Jake Sully. There was a mystery with Kiri. It wasn't resolved by the end of the movie, but that question affected her throughout the movie, so I thought it was fine. It was a kind of setting up that felt natural. When talking about the plot of the movie, the internet likes to say that the plot was simple. But I think the more important question is, does it make you care about the characters and the world? And for me, it was a resounding yes. The movie made me care about Jake, made me care about his family, made me care about the bad guys, and it made me care about some cool freaking space whale. The space whales were amazing. They actually turned out to be a surprisingly strong emotional point of the movie. But looking at the plot as a whole, it actually reminded me of Empire Strikes Back, where it is a smaller scale movie compared to A New Hope, where in A New Hope the rebel lions were trying to destroy this planet destroying weapon, which is a pretty big deal. But in Empire, it was mostly just Darth Vader hunting Luke. Didn't really affect the Empire in a large way, didn't really affect the rebels. It was just a smaller scale focused movie. In the same way, the stakes in the first Avatar movie seemed bigger. It was more human versus Na'vi, where here in Way of Water, it was more Quaritch trying to hunt Jake Sully and his family. Nothing else mattered to him, and because of that, it allowed for the movie to spend more time focusing on Jake and his family. You get to see how Jake is as a parent and how it conflicts with his duty to be a general to his tribe. Does he treat his sons as soldiers or children? They call him Sir, so in a way they are his soldiers, but at the same time when his kids got hurt, that was what made him decide to flee the tribe and go to the other water tribe. So the context of the movie is that the protective father side won at the start, which made him choose to flee rather than fight, and then you get to see how that develops throughout the movie as the context changes, the situation changes. Does he stick with that decision? Does he decide to fight? And I think that's interesting. And I think that saying that the plot is simple undermines a lot of the internal struggle that a lot of the characters are facing. Quaritch is a clone. There's a character named Spider who's a human but raised with Na'vi and acts like Na'vi. Jake's children aren't really pure Na'vi, which they can see by the number of fingers. And then there was that mystery with Kiri. So overall, there was just a lot going on, and because it's a 3-hour movie, the movie was able to spend its time making us care about all these conflicts. So yeah, I liked the story. I thought it was good. It was a 3-hour long movie and I was engaged throughout when they were fighting or when they were not fighting. There was a maybe 10 to 15 minute part in the middle of the movie where they were learning the Way of Water, and the movie kept jumping between different scenes without letting any of the scene develop. For 10 seconds you're seeing characters A, B, C swimming here, next 5 seconds character D swimming there, next 5 seconds it seems like they're already fast forward a bit and ABC are much better at swimming now. You spend 10 seconds in this new scene before cutting to a completely different setting with the bad guys doing something completely different. It was bad editing. My sister actually made the pff sound out loud in the cinema because the edits were just so jarring. It was actually bad. It was genuinely bad for like 15 minutes. But that's my only real complaint. The rest of the movie was superb. The action scenes especially were shot so well. They fought in the dark, in the forest, they fought in the broad daylight on water, they fought underwater. There was a badass sequence with Neytiri, aka the baddest badass in Pandora. and she was actually genuinely scary. The fight scenes had weight to it. I think with the MCU, you always complain that there's a lot of CGI fights, but you forget that in Avatar, they are all CGI, but it was still really impactful. So it's not the CGI, it's more about the story and the setting and the stakes, and in this movie it was done really well. I think you can contrast this with Black Panther 2. I'm just gonna say it, I don't like Black Panther 2, and in the final fight, they were fighting on top of this ship, the Wakandans and Talak O'Neill were fighting on the ship. You don't really see what's going on because the camera kept jumping. You don't see anyone die. The most that you see is that they kick the Talak O'Neill, which live underwater, into the ocean. So you know they didn't die. You don't see any of the Wakandans die. And then by the end of the movie, they did the Wakanda Forever and Kamehameha, and they were all happy. And then you're just there sitting in the cinema saying, I guess no one did die. They were just doing some cardio at the climax of the movie. It's just such a huge difference compared to the fight scenes that you get in Way of Water. Especially the final fight, which kept getting better and better. The battle just kept progressing, the situation changes, people die, and when the final fight eventually goes down, it felt like a moment that was naturally earned, like everything was building up right to it. Even though later when you get home and you think about it for 5 seconds, you realize that it wasn't that natural. It only happened because the two armies suddenly disappeared so that the two characters could have their one-on-one fight. It's a plot hole for sure, but plot holes only stand out in a bad movie if the movie as a whole is generally entertaining. I think we can all excuse some plot holes here and there. In regards to the CGI or VFX in general, I think that the last movie that I watched in cinema that made me go wow and really wonder how they did it was Dune. Dune was great. There's a ton of videos out there talking about how this VFX in Dune. But in this movie, I think that what I can say is that if James Cameron told me that they actually went to another planet to shoot this movie with alien actors, I would have 100% believed him. It was perfect. It was actually perfect. It's insane how good VFX can be if VFX artists are given the time to do their job. That's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this random guy's thoughts on the movie that came out weeks ago. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.